Chanticleer. Hope everyone's surviving and having fun. We are here at Chanticleer. We're not open, but we're preparing for the day when we can open and welcome our guests in. Now, we're not doing a traditional spring container display like we usually do, but we're beginning to plan our summer containers already. That is going directly into a summer combination. I want to feature these cardoons relative to the artichoke family. Beautiful silver architectural form. This one's exceptionally lacy and needled as well, so we don't want to handle it too much, but it has a really pleasant architectural sort of stature in the pot. Very fluffy, thick textured Salvia argentea, known as the silver sage. That is a very dense, thick leaf plant, which is a nice contrast with the cardoon, yet has the same silver tone. And I'm complementing that with a rosemary. In this case, this is a prostrate or a trailing rosemary. And then lastly, in the same container, I'm using a plant called Cerinthe purpurescens. And it has an interesting blue-purple flower that will emerge in the next few weeks. It absolutely loves the cool, bright days of springtime, but begins to fade in the summer heat. So we're going to treat the Cerinthe as our disposable in this combination, because by the time these are failing, all of the other plants in this combination will really be succeeding and take over and frankly be very happy with an open space. In the metal container next to me, I've repeated the Cerinthe so there's a consistency in the display, but with the addition of a plant called Echium, and this is a variegated Echium. It is a true Mediterranean plant with wonderful blue spikes later in the season, but Echiums don't bloom for us in the Delaware Valley. Some may ask, why are you using it, Dan? I use the variegated one. This is one with a white stripe on the edge. So even if the plant doesn't bloom, I've got that variegation working for me all season. Tolerant of cool nights in the springtime, but absolutely relishes the heat and bright days of summer. So even though I'm planting it now, this will work from spring and carry me into the summer. The containers to my left and to my right all have one thing in common. They're all black glaze containers. Oh sure, some of them are tall and some of them are small, some are wide and some are tiny, but they have the continuity of color and finish. It's one of the things I like to do is I like to have repetition in series of containers. It puts the emphasis on the plants. The plants that I chose are a unique group of plants. They're called Mangave. And a Mangave is interesting because it's what's called a bigeneric hybrid. It's where you cross a Manfreda and an agave, two members of the lily family that are somewhat distant but yet close enough that they can breed between them. These were shared with us by the breeder a few years ago as very small plants, and in a very short amount of time they bulked up. So now we want to evaluate them side by side in a similar situation so that we can see which one of those selections are truly going to be superior plants. After the containers are potted up with the potting mix, a little bit of organic fertilizer worked into the top mix, watered in and settled, I like to finish that, and I'll show you how I finished it with these containers here. As you come closer, you'll notice that the top of the soil is covered with gravel. In this case, what we refer to as pea gravel or rounded gravel. It manages moisture very effectively by reducing the evaporation. But frankly, I love the color pattern and I love the texture and detail that the gravel mulch adds to these containers. The Mangaves are rigid architectural plants, each one interesting in their own right, but I think they're visually quite solid, and that's why I incorporated this carex, an orange toned carex native to New Zealand, to soften it. And you can see it move in the wind to add just a little bit of movement to this otherwise strong and sort of static display. All right, one of these days we're going to see each other at Chanticleer. Until then, enjoy your spring. Stay tuned for more videos.